Hey, good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Henderson. I'm with Marine Corps Recruiting Command, and today we'll be conducting another Action Marine live session with Lance Corporal Compton and PFC Calfee, both infantry Marines with 3rd Battalion, 6 Marines. So how are you guys doing today?
Good, sir.
All right. Awesome. All right. So how long have you been with 3-6 now?
Going on about 6 months.
5-6 months.
5-6 months.
So in the fleet for 5-6 months?
Yes, sir.
How was that transition from school infantry to hitting your first unit here in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina?
For me, it was kind of scary going to a unit being one of the only females, but it was a lot more freedom. I got a car and got to be able to go home and have my phone every day, so that was pretty good for me.
So it's more of a normal lifestyle.
Yeah.
I guess more normalized in the School of Infantry, and obviously recruit training is a little bit more rigorous and structured, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So how's it with you?
I'd say the transition was pretty smooth. I mean, it was definitely different, and I had to adjust a little bit. But coming from ITB to the fleet, I definitely enjoyed a little bit more freedom and stuff like that. It's been nice.
Solid. All right. Yeah, so we're going to get to as many questions as we can next 30 to 45 minutes. If you can, put your question in the comment box, and we'll try to get to them. I've got a few that are coming in now. We just answered that. So when did you graduate from recruit training?
It was October 2017.
2017. So can you explain a little bit perhaps what the most difficult part about recruit training was?
The most difficult part of recruit training, probably, I'd say the everyday mind games the drill instructors try to play with you. Going into the crucible maybe a little bit, but definitely trying to get used to having somebody tell you what to do every second of every day was a big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, the hardest part of recruit training was probably just being away from my family, because I'm a big family person, and that adjustment from being with them every single day to going into recruit training and having a new family and learning how to live with them and adjust with them was kind of a big wake-up call for me. So.
Solid. So it was your first time leaving home, I suppose?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, mine too. So that was a few years ago. But so was it your first time leaving home as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you have your dad was in the Marine Corps, and your sister was in the Marine Corps, correct?
Yes, my dad did 20 years. He was infantry as well. My sister's in right now. She's communications.
Nice. What about you? Do you have any family that was prior Marine Corps?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're the first generation Marine in the family? All right, congratulations. Awesome. All right, so one more thing about recruit training. Do you have anything you can offer as far as preparation? Like, looking back on it, if you would have known something before you stepped on those yellow footprints, what advice do you have for the audience?
Run. Absolutely. Get some conditioning in. That was a big part of it. And try to mentally prepare yourself, especially the last couple of weeks leading up to it. It's definitely a big lifestyle change. So condition your mind as well.
What about you?
I'd have to piggyback off of what he said. Just the physical part is pretty hard, but I think the mental part, just being mentally prepared for boot camp, is a good way to go. Just prepare yourself for it.
What was like looking back? What was the most, when it comes to the physical aspect? What was the most difficult physical aspect? Was it running? Was it push-ups? Was it other things?
I mean, for me, it was running. I'm not a big runner, but you just kind of suck it up and do it. So
go off, just run more.
Just run more.
All right, that's easy. Just run more. All right. If you would have done anything differently now, what have you done differently besides running more?
Is that leading up to boot camp?
Yeah, leading up to boot camp.
I'd probably get more familiar with a scudge brush.
Can you describe what that is?
A scudge brush is like basically a little broom, handheld broom, and you will get very familiar with that once you get to boot camp. It's a fun time. Field days are, the house gets clean.
Yeah. So it's a good way to build strength.
Absolutely.
A little bit of character, right? All right. What about you?
I'd probably get myself more familiarized with Marine Corps knowledge.
Okay. Like history, perhaps.
History and like just learning like the rank structure more better and everything. I mean, they do teach you that in a boot camp, but just I felt like I could have done more on my own, I guess.
So the rank structure, like the enlisted ranks, the officer ranks,
Yes, sir.
perhaps some of the general orders, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, that's it. That's a good point. I don't know if we've really discussed that much in our previous Ask Marine sessions, but it's not just running, and it's not just doing push-ups and all that good physical stuff. A lot of it's mental. A lot of it knowledge involved there, not just history, but a lot of technical knowledge involving what weapons, and not so much weapons as much as it is just even learning how to wear the uniform, properly. Those are big things, right? And drill, we don't want to forget drill. So while we're still in recruit training, we have another question right here. What surprised you the most about recruit training?
For me, just how fast it flew by. Just stepping on those yellow footprints at the end of July, and then at the end of October being done, and I'm just like, wow, and probably seeing the transformation within myself. I didn't think I was going to see it as much as my family would, but just looking back at who I was then and who I am now, it's a big difference. So that's what pretty much got me. But.
You think it made, both mentally and physically, how would you describe it? More tough, or let's say, look at adversity. Perhaps you look at adversity maybe different now than you did before recruit training. The Marine Corps instills in us certain modes of discipline, and just it toughens our character in general. So perhaps the way you look at the world might be a little bit different.
It taught me not to take things for granted. Being away from home definitely was, like I said, a big wake-up call for me, and the friendships and everything that I made. I don't see any of the girls that I made friends with, but they're still here for me. So
look them on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff.
Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't have. I don't think we had Facebook when I went through recruit training, but I know the mail was working well. Did y'all still get a lot of mail there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is that a big motivational factor per se when you're there at recruit training? Can you describe how the mail works at recruit training? Maybe.
Absolutely, it was a big motivational factor. It was always nice having letters from your family and friends of encouragement and stuff like that. But sometimes the mail does kind of travel slow. That was kind of a downer sometimes. Like a letter would get there a week later and you'd already wrote 2 or 3 more. Some advice on the mail thing: do not write letters in your rack. It's a terrible idea.
They tell you that though, right?
They do tell you that, and you should listen.
That's good stuff. All right, got another question coming in. So just going to skip to graduation. So what was it like when your senior drill instructor gave you the Eagle Globe and Anchor? So they still do it on Family Day? Is it Thursday? Eagle Globe and Anchor? Well, they actually hand you the Eagle Globe and Anchor in the ceremony. That's at the Crucible, correct?
Yes, it's at the Crucible.
Okay, so how did that feel?
It was definitely one of the most emotional experiences of my life. The feeling of pride, like I did it, I finished, I've earned the title, was immense, and it was such an awesome experience. I really can't think of anything else that's equated to that experience in my life.
Is that because it was just, everything leading up to that, emotionally and just like physically? At the end of the Crucible, you're probably a little tired, maybe hiked a few miles past few days. And
absolutely.
It's just that build up to 2 months before you get the Crucible is the end of month 2, correct? Or is it 3 now?
The end of, or the beginning of the Crucible is the end of phase 3.
So end of
they have a 4th phase now, I'm not sure.
Got it, the end of phase 3. So when you get the Eagle Globe and Anchor, it's almost that culminating event, right?
Absolutely. For me, another thing that tied into that was the legacy. Like when I was getting my Eagle Globe and Anchor, I was thinking about my grandfather, my father, and my sister, and all the Marines before me. So it was absolutely just like, it really dawned on me like what they've been through and how much more I had to go and had to do.
Awesome. What about yourself?
I think the Eagle Globe and Anchor ceremony for me was, I had a lot of people tell me I wasn't gonna ever make it in the Marine Corps or make it through boot camp. So I think it was more of a challenge accepted kind of thing. Like, It was a great feeling. You know, you're finally a part of that brotherhood and sisterhood. You're a Marine now. You're not just a recruit. And definitely after getting the EGA, you go get to have the Warriors breakfast, and I think that was a good thing too.
You a little hungry after that?
A little, yeah, a little hungry.
A little bit. So how high? Well, how far was the hike back from that? Once you complete the crucible.
It was 9 miles.
And that's to the Warriors breakfast, right? Eat right away, or is it like you guys wait a little while to eat?
You wait a little while. You take a bus back to the barracks, and you get to, or the squad bay, and you get to shower, and you can go eat. So
and clean up a little bit. Nice. All right. Okay. Well, so while we're on that one, I just got a question from Cindy. So Cindy wants to know if training is different for men and women at recruit training.
I know that they do there's a lot of co-ed stuff that goes on, and
it's more integrated.
Integrated.
Because you saw it was both at recruit training when you were going through them, so male and female.
Yes, so there's certain things that the male and females do together, but as far as it being different, I mean, I don't really know much of what the male's done. I mean, I'm sure PFC Calfee can tell you more about that, but
across the standard, it's the same standard. So,
absolutely the same standard. Nobody gets it easier. That's absolutely not a thing. Like, the females and the males both get worked, and we both are there to earn the same title. So the integration wasn't as heavy, but like we still did some things together. That's honestly about it.
Yeah, we get a lot of these questions. We get a lot of questions for our female Marines from our audience all the time, being that, you know, I would say it's more, it could be a broad stereotype, as in there's a difference between, you know, men and women in the training, but there's not. And that's just the way it is in the Marine Corps these days. So, as a female, we have one more question for you. So, what actually led you to becoming a Marine? Like, when was that moment, like, you were like, I'm going to be a Marine?
I was probably a sophomore in high school when I knew I wanted to be in the Marine Corps. I just knew that the Marine Corps could challenge me and make me a more stronger and capable person. And I wanted to be a part of the brotherhood and the sisterhood, to have that camaraderie and be able to look to my left and my right and know that whoever's there, they have my back. So that's kind of what I was searching for.
Did you feel that when you got to go to Lopen Acre that day?
Yes, sir, I did. Just knowing that I went through everything with those females and those males, we all went through the same thing, and it was all challenging, and we all earned it. So.
Okay. Awesome. Let's see if we got any more questions. I got from, recruit training. Let's fast forward a little bit. You graduated recruit training. What's next in the pipeline? For an infantry Marine, you go into the School of Infantry, correct?
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that? We'll speak briefly on it. I mean, what was the difference between, like, obviously there's a difference, but was it more difficult, or, you know, was it more fun? That's the thing.
The transition from recruit training to SOI or ITB, I'd say ITB was a little bit, ITB was more difficult in its own ways, because you're out in the field more, you're doing more actual, like, grunt stuff, you're actually out there in the mud, and you're shooting and stuff like that more. And for recruit training, it's more just structured about what you're going to do throughout the day, learning how to be a Marine, stuff like that. So I enjoyed ITB a little bit more because I felt like I was actually doing, of course, I was actually doing more of my MOS-related stuff.
You're learning, like, they're teaching you had those instructors there. All the instructors are infantry Marines, right? Yes. Across the spectrum of MOSs within the infantry, correct? So you got your riflemen, machine gunners, mortarmen, and then those Marines are the ones teaching you the craft, you know, the art of being an infantryman or infantry Marine. So can you tell us a little bit what it's like to be at 0311 in infantry school or an SOI?
In SOI, well, coming from some of the weapons MOSs, they call it sandbags. Not really a fan of that one, but we all mess with each other and stuff like that. Being an 11, it's not as specialized as being a 31 or a 41, but we definitely have to learn our own knowledge. Definitely stuff that we need to do, squad rush tactics, stuff like that. as in going into being a 41 and stuff like that. I'm sure that's Corporal Compton.
Yeah. So can you explain a little bit to us, like what an 0341 is?
An 0341 is an infantry mortarman. You've got 60 millimeter and 81 millimeter tubes.
And the tubes are what you put the mortar into, right?
Yes,
right?
sir.
Got it.
As far as being an ITB, being an 0341, it's a little different than the 11s because like we have to learn the 11 knowledge and we also have to learn 41 stuff like how to, do our job as well as being able to do an 11s because there is times where we will be attached to 11 platoons acting as an 11 and not just a 41. So
you're integrated essentially in the platoon, in a rifle platoon, which is, mission of the Marine Corps, correct? All right, mission of the Marine Corps Rifle Squad. Okay, so what advice would you give someone, perhaps, that wanted to become a Marine? If you saw someone that came up to you and was like, hey, I'm really interested in the Marine Corps, what advice do you have?
I would say for me, just, I guess like PFC Calfee said earlier, PT hard, physically and mentally, and spend time with your family as much as you can, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
For me, some advice I'd give, sometimes you have to embrace the suck. That's a way of life, but there are so many good moments that you share with your fellow Marines there that just like make it so much more worth it. So be prepared for the bad times, but be prepared to laugh at those bad times later on down the road.
Isn't bad, you mean just, it's obviously the essence of a Marine is a lot of physical strife at times, and the training naturally is going to be tough. So
absolutely,
that's what we're talking about. More difficult times is
not so much bad. It's just sometimes a tire can be pretty heavy during PT, stuff like that. Mud does not taste well, stuff like that. So
that's good stuff. All right, now this one's coming in. Do you have any advice that you would give to any pulleys about to go to boot camp, start this journey that you essentially are coming to a close with SOI, you're one in the fleet, but if you put yourselves back in your pulley shoes or recruit, is there any advice you would give before going to boot camp?
Going back to what I said earlier, condition your body and your mind, and what Lance Corporal Compton said, make sure you're going over the knowledge. Like they'll teach you pretty much everything while you're there, but you should definitely strive to learn some of it before you go. It'll help you a lot down the road.
How long were you a pulley for? Do you remember?
I was in the deferred program.
Yeah,
so
delayed
it was
entry
about
program?
a year. Yeah, delayed entry.
So you were in the delayed entry program for exactly a year then?
Yes.
Nice. All right, what about yourself? Were you in the delayed entry program?
Yes, sir. I was in for about 9 months.
Okay. So the delayed entry program, did it help you out at all? Like as far as like preparation leading up to going to recruit training?
Yes, sir. It taught me drill knowledge, of course. I know my RSS station was hard on like PFTs and ISTs, so we would hammer those down, and just I guess having good character as well. Like instead of just teaching us how to be a good recruit or Marine, they also told us how to be a good person and respect each other. And
good. So you had a lot of time spent with the recruiters and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
During the monthly, do you guys have once a month or twice a month as far as your pulley programs, programs?
Mine had twice a month.
Okay, nice. That's good. I got some more questions coming in. Okay, Craig. So Craig wants to know, what do you do if you get hurt during recruit training? You're probably always hurting during recruit training, but
absolutely. I guess it just kind of depends on the kind of hurt. There's the pain hurt, and then there's the actual like hurt, I guess. Being injured. I would say just try to, I don't want to say push through it, but I know that I've had a lot of friends that got set back and they were devastated they couldn't graduate with their original company. So
Once you heal, you're right back into the training, right?
Once you heal, you're right back into training and right back into the fight. So.
That's good stuff. So I could probably elaborate a little bit on that. You get hurt in recruit training, there's a platoon that you'll attend, and you'll get great medical attention. You're not going to go back to training full time unless a doctor gives you the authorization to do so, or gives a command authorization to put you back into training. So yeah. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Got it. So what about life now? So what's next for you two? Y'all in the same battalion, right? With different companies, correct? So you're with Lima Company?
Yes.
And you're with? India Company. Okay, so what's next for 3-6?
We got ITX in July, and then we got a deployment to Okinawa in February. So.
Can you tell us a little bit about ITX? It's more of how long it is?
I'm assuming it's going to be about a month and a half, 2 months long.
Mm-hmm.
So good training out there. You can elaborate on that?
As far as the training, like it's 29 Palms, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's out in good old 29 Palms, California, Marine Corps base. Great training ground for Marines. So y'all get out there. Well, y'all go out there as a unit, correct?
Yes.
So the entire 3-6 is going to go out there for the UDP. Can you tell us what you're prepping for though at ITX?
I'm not really sure, honestly.
So like UDP, so you guys will go out, unit deployment program, and it's for 6 months? You guys know that?
7.
7 months, okay. Cool. So how does it feel like working up towards the deployment? Like you're actually, so did you guys join to deploy? So
Absolutely.
knowing you were joining the Marine Corps and the possibility of deploying, so you're actually getting to deploy now here in a few months. I mean, how's it feel?
I'm excited. Definitely one of the main reasons I joined. I can't wait to travel, do some good training somewhere else. But I absolutely cannot wait to get into the actual grit and dirt of some good training.
That's good stuff. And deploy, see the world, right?
Absolutely.
So you can certainly do that in the Marine Corps. In any part of the training, I'll say you got recruit training, go back to ITB or School of Infantry, and currently in the fleet training. Has there been a time where you're like, I really want to give up? Like any point in training or any point in your career so far?
Absolutely in recruit training, because honestly didn't know any better. But my dad always heard his voice in the back of my head. He's like, you're not going to give up. That's absolutely not going to happen. So at low points, I just think about whatever he taught me throughout my years and just kind of refer back to that. If I see somebody else that was hurting, just try to give them the same advice, and hopefully they made it through. But there's some low points, but you just got to push through those and keep being strong.
Certainly. You remember your drill instructors, both of you, by name? I hope so.
Yes, sir.
That's good stuff. So was there a point going through recruit training at all where you were just like, okay, I've had enough, or you wanted to tap out?
I feel like with every recruit will go through that mental toughness of wanting to give up, but that's just another thing that the Marine Corps instills in you, is the discipline to keep fighting even when you don't want to. So
It's adversity, right? You got to push through it. All right, it's like every day is a battle. Kind of get done with that day. It's like when I was going through recruit training. The biggest thing was no matter how bad the day is, tonight I want to go to sleep. At some point, I will hopefully get to rest. And it was always, I don't know about you two, but it's like meal to meal. So make it to lunch. All right, made it to lunch. All right, now I got to make it to dinner. All right, so I suppose it's the little things that you kind of count on to get you through. And what about, you build camaraderie in your platoon too, so you push each other. Can you talk on that at all? Did you guys have a real tight-knit platoon going through recruit training?
I definitely did. I was very fortunate to have such great drill instructors and the other female recruits that I was going through with. They never let me go to bed without a good mentality of the next day coming, and they always pushed me. And like I said, every time I looked to my left or my right, I knew that one of them was going to be there for me.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
For me, the camaraderie is, to this day, it hasn't been long, but I'm still pretty tight with some of my friends from boot camp. Even, oddly enough, I'm even friends with some of the guys from other platoons, because we ended up in ITB together, and it's just oh, you graduated with Delta. So did I. We're best friends now, obviously. That's just
Did
how
we
it
just
works.
become best friends?
Yeah.
We just became best friends.
Absolutely.
All right. All right, thank you. I have one last question, and we got to wrap this up. We kind of get a little on time. Okay, so why the Marine Corps? At any other branch of service, did y'all ever even before I asked why the Marine Corps, did you ever consider any other branch of service before the Marine Corps?
Absolutely not.
Wasn't authorized in your family?
Absolutely not. My dad did 20 years, and even if I did think about joining another branch, I just have him on my shoulders like, Marine is in your blood. There's no other option. So Marine Corps, it's just a whole lot of family. Dad and my sister's in right now, so they always drove me to be a Marine. So here I am.
Okay.
I never looked into any other branch besides the Marine Corps either. I guess for me, the reason I joined the Marine Corps and why the Marine Corps is just because it's a family, and it's much more than just the military aspect of it as well. It's literally familyness and having each other's backs and knowing that you can go through life however long you do, whether it's your 4 years or 20 years, you're going to have that family no matter what your home life was at home or no matter what you have. So
it's awesome. Same thing with me. It's Marine Corps. That's it. Okay. So I want to ask if the audience has any more questions. I'll try to get to as many as those as we can before we wrap it up here. Let's see. Not get anything coming in. All right. Well, it seems like it's it. We're running out of time. Thank you all for watching today, and thank you, Marines, for coming out, telling us some of your story and sharing us with your, it's powerful stuff. We want to hear it. We have an audience that wants to hear it as well. And we get these questions emailed to us all the time. And if we didn't get to your question, please search for more information on marines.com and request more information. All right. Thank you.